Marcus Chun adjusted the unfamiliar busboy uniform, the polyester fabric scratching against skin accustomed to $1,000 suits. The dining room of Romano's buzzed with the lunch crowd, servers weaving between tables with practiced efficiency. He had built this restaurant chain from nothing, but standing here now, he felt like a stranger in his own empire. The complaints had been mounting for months. Service declining, customers leaving negative reviews, profits dropping at his flagship location. His board demanded answers. But Marcus knew the real truth lay not in spreadsheets, but in understanding what happened on the ground floor. Before we dive into this story, drop a comment and let us know what state you're watching from. Maybe you've witnessed someone working through pain to support their family where you're from. A woman approached carrying a heavy tray, her movements careful and deliberate. Linda Rodriguez had worked here for 3 years, according to her file, but Marcus had never really seen her before. She smiled warmly at customers despite the exhaustion etched around her eyes. There was something else too, a tension in her shoulders, the way she favored her left hand while balancing plates. Derek Morrison, the manager, swept past without acknowledgement, his attention fixed on his clipboard rather than the people around him. This was Marcus's restaurant, his responsibility, yet he realized he had become as disconnected as the corporate executives he once criticized. Marcus picked up a bus tub and followed Linda's path through the dining room. She moved with quiet grace, checking on each table with genuine concern for her customers. An elderly man struggled to cut his steak, and Linda immediately offered assistance without being asked, her movements gentle despite what appeared to be discomfort in her right hand. He watched her interact with a young family, kneeling beside their toddler who had dropped his toy. The child giggled as Linda retrieved it, but Marcus noticed how she used only her left hand, keeping her right arm close to her body. When she stood, a brief wince crossed her features before the professional smile returned. The lunch rush intensified. Orders backed up in the kitchen while servers scrambled to keep pace. Linda carried trays with careful precision, never dropping anything despite the obvious strain. Other staff members seemed frazzled, but she remained composed, offering encouraging words to overwhelmed coworkers. Derek appeared at Marcus's elbow, scowling at Linda's table. "The woman is slowing everyone down," he muttered, making notes on his ever-present clipboard. Marcus wanted to defend her, but forced himself to remain silent. His cover depended on observing without interfering, no matter how difficult. Linda approached the service station where Marcus was stacking clean plates. She offered him a tired but genuine smile. "New guy, right? I'm Linda. Welcome to the chaos." Her warmth caught him off guard. In his executive world, such kindness between strangers was rare. Derek's voice cut through the kitchen noise like a blade. "Rodriguez, table 12, is still waiting for their appetizers. Your section is falling behind again." Linda turned from the register, her face flushed with exhaustion and something else, pain that she was trying desperately to hide. "I am sorry, Derek. I'll check on their order right now," she replied, her voice steady despite the tremor Marcus noticed in her right hand as she reached for her notepad. Derek stepped closer, his tone growing sharper. "This is the 3rd time this week. Customers are complaining about slow service, and corporate is breathing down my neck." Marcus felt his jaw clench. He had built this company on treating employees with respect. Yet here was his own manager creating a hostile work environment. Linda nodded silently, accepting blame that wasn't entirely hers. The kitchen was understaffed, the equipment outdated, but Derek seemed determined to make her the scapegoat. She hurried toward table 12, cradling her right arm against her ribs in a way that made Marcus's stomach tighten. Something was seriously wrong, but she was hiding it with the desperation of someone who couldn't afford to lose her job. He watched her apologize to the frustrated customers with genuine remorse, offering them complimentary dessert from her own tips. Derek followed her movements with predatory attention. "One more mistake, Rodriguez, and we'll need to discuss your future here." The threat hung in the air like smoke, and Marcus saw Linda's shoulders sag under its weight. During the afternoon lull, Marcus found Linda sitting alone in the break room, her right hand hidden beneath the table. She was staring at her phone, and he glimpsed a photo of a young girl with bright eyes and Linda's warm smile. "That's Sophia," she said softly, noticing his glance. "She's 8. Wants to be a doctor when she grows up." Marcus sat across from her, genuinely curious about this woman who worked with such dedication despite obvious pain. "She's beautiful. Takes after her mom." Linda's eyes brightened with pride and exhaustion. "She's everything to me. Lost her dad 2 years ago, so it's just us now. I work doubles most days to keep up with rent and her school expenses." The conversation revealed layers Marcus hadn't expected. Linda had been studying nursing before her husband left, dreams abandoned for survival. She spoke about Sophia's straight A's, her love of science, her questions about why mommy worked so much. Every word carried the weight of sacrifice made with love. "I see how hard you work," Marcus said carefully. "Derek doesn't seem to appreciate it." Linda's laugh held no humor. "Derek sees numbers on a screen, but every customer who leaves happy, every coworker who feels supported, that matters more than his spreadsheets." She winced slightly, adjusting her position. "This job isn't glamorous, but it pays the bills and lets me be the mom Sophia deserves." Marcus felt something shift inside him, a recognition of true character that had nothing to do with titles or bank accounts. The dinner rush arrived like a storm. Orders flooded in as Linda struggled to keep pace, her careful movements becoming more labored with each passing hour. Marcus watched from the service station as she approached table 6 with a heavy tray, her face pale with concentration and pain. She reached for the plates with her right hand out of habit, then gasped as something gave way. The sound that escaped her lips was raw, involuntary, a cry of agony she could no longer suppress. The tray tilted dangerously, and Marcus rushed forward just as ceramic shattered against the floor. Linda stood frozen among the broken dishes, cradling her right hand against her chest. The professional mask finally cracked, revealing the extent of her suffering. Her wrist was visibly swollen, the skin discolored with deep bruising that spoke of weeks of hidden injury. "Oh my God, Linda, what happened to your hand?" asked Sarah, another server who had rushed over. Linda's eyes darted around the dining room, terrified that Derek might see her vulnerability. "It's nothing, just a little sore," she whispered, but her voice shook with pain she could no longer deny. Marcus knelt beside her, his heart breaking at the sight. This wasn't a minor injury. Her hand was clearly broken, possibly in multiple places, yet she had been working through excruciating pain to keep her job. The dedication he had witnessed took on a completely different meaning. This woman had been suffering in silence, choosing her daughter's security over her own well-being. Marcus helped Linda to a chair in the break room, his mind reeling from what he had witnessed. Her broken hand was severely swollen, fingers bent at unnatural angles that made his stomach clench. "How long have you been working like this?" he asked gently, though he dreaded the answer. 3 weeks, Linda whispered, tears finally spilling over. "I fell down my apartment stairs carrying groceries. Heard it snap, but the emergency room wanted $800 up front." She looked at him with desperate eyes. "I can't afford to miss work. Sophia needs new school clothes, and rent is due next week." The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. For 3 weeks, this woman had endured excruciating pain, serving customers with a smile, while her bones remained unset and healing incorrectly. She had chosen financial survival over medical care, a decision no parent should ever face. He knelt beside her chair, his voice thick with emotion he struggled to contain. "Linda, you need immediate medical attention. This could cause permanent damage if it's not treated properly." She shook her head frantically. "I can't afford a doctor, and if Derek sees me like this, he'll fire me for sure." Marcus felt rage building toward the system he had unknowingly created, where dedicated employees suffered in silence rather than seek help. But beneath the anger was profound respect for this woman's courage. She had worked through agony that would have felled most people, driven by love for her daughter that transcended her own well-being. Derek's voice boomed across the restaurant as he discovered the broken dishes. Rodriguez, what the hell happened here? His face was flushed with anger as he stormed toward the break room, where Linda sat, trying to compose herself. Marcus stepped protectively between them, but Derek barely acknowledged his presence. Linda stood shakily, attempting to hide her injured hand behind her back. I am sorry, Derek. I'll clean it up right away and pay for the damages. Her voice was steady despite the pain etched across her features, but Derek's expression remained unmoved by her obvious distress. This is the final straw, Rodriguez. You've been dropping the ball all week, and now you're breaking our dishes. Derek pulled out his phone, scrolling through what appeared to be employee contacts. I'm calling Maria to cover your shifts. You're done here. Marcus felt his blood pressure spike as he watched Linda's face crumble. She had given everything to this job, working through unbearable pain to serve customers and support her daughter, and Derek was firing her for having a medical emergency. The injustice burned in Marcus's chest like acid. Please, Derek, Linda whispered, her professional composure finally breaking completely. I need this job. Sophia starts school next week, and I still need to buy her supplies. I promise I'll be more careful. Derek shook his head coldly. Should have thought of that before you became a liability. Clear out your locker. Marcus clenched his fists, fighting every instinct to reveal his identity and put Derek in his place immediately. Linda made it halfway to the parking lot before collapsing. The combination of pain, exhaustion, and devastating news finally overwhelmed her body's ability to continue. Marcus found her sitting on the curb, sobbing into her good hand while the broken one hung useless at her side. I'm taking you to the hospital, he said firmly, helping her to his rental car. Linda protested weakly through her tears. I can't afford it, and Sophia will be worried. She's at my neighbor's house waiting for me to pick her up. Marcus's heart ached as he realized this woman was more concerned about her daughter than her own medical emergency. During the drive, Linda called Sophia with shaking fingers. Hi, baby. Mommy's going to be a little late tonight. Can you stay with Mrs. Garcia a bit longer? Her voice was steady despite the tears streaming down her face, protecting her child from worry even in her darkest moment. At the emergency room, Marcus watched Linda's eyes widen at the registration forms asking for insurance information and payment methods. The triage nurse examined her hand with professional concern. Ma'am, this needs immediate surgery. The bones have been healing incorrectly for weeks. When Sophia arrived with the elderly neighbor, she ran to her mother with innocent joy that broke Marcus's heart. Mommy, why are you crying? Are you hurt? Linda managed to smile through her pain. Just a little accident, sweetheart. The doctors are going to make it better. Sophia's small hand gently touched her mother's cheek with wisdom beyond her years. In the hospital waiting room, Marcus sat beside Sophia while Linda underwent emergency surgery. The 80-year-old girl swung her legs from the oversized chair, her backpack clutched tightly against her chest. She had brought homework, explaining matter-of-factly that Mommy always reminded her that school came first. Mister, is my mommy going to be okay? Sophia asked, her voice small but brave. Marcus felt his throat tighten as he looked into eyes that held too much worry for someone so young. She's going to be fine, sweetheart. The doctors are very good at fixing broken bones. Sophia nodded solemnly, then pulled out a drawing from her backpack. I made this for Mommy at school today. It showed two stick figures holding hands under a rainbow, with the words "Best Mommy Ever" written in careful purple crayon. She works really hard for us, Sophia continued. Sometimes she cries when she thinks I'm sleeping, but she always makes my breakfast and helps with homework. The simple honesty of the child's words shattered something inside Marcus. He had spent years building a business empire while losing sight of the human cost of corporate decisions. Here was a family torn apart by a system that valued profit over people, where a dedicated employee could work herself into permanent disability rather than seek help. When the surgeon emerged 3 hours later, his expression was grave. We saved the hand, but there was significant damage from weeks of untreated breaks. Recovery will take months, and she'll need extensive physical therapy. When Linda woke up in recovery, her hand was encased in a cast that would remain for at least 8 weeks. Marcus sat beside her bed while Sophia slept curled in the chair, using her backpack as a pillow. The pain medication made Linda's voice soft and confused. "Why are you still here? You barely know me." Marcus took a deep breath, knowing this moment would change everything. "Linda, I need to tell you something. I'm not really a busboy. My name is Marcus Chun, and I own Romano's restaurant chain. I was working undercover to understand what was happening in my restaurants." Linda's eyes widened as the revelation sank in. "You're the owner? But why were you washing dishes and taking orders?" Marcus felt shame wash over him as he met her gaze. "Because I lost touch with what really matters. I built this company to provide good jobs and serve communities, but somewhere along the way, I forgot about the people who make it possible." He gestured toward her cast with profound regret. "You worked for 3 weeks with a broken hand because my healthcare plan is inadequate and my manager creates an environment where employees are afraid to ask for help. That's not the company I intended to build." Linda's voice was barely a whisper. "So you saw everything? How Derek treats us, how we struggle." Marcus nodded heavily. "I saw a woman sacrifice her health for her daughter's future because my system failed you. I saw true dedication and courage that puts my corporate boardroom to shame." The next morning, Marcus walked into Romano's wearing his business suit for the first time in weeks. Staff members did double takes as he strode purposefully toward Derek's office, his expression grim with determination. Derek looked up from his desk with confusion that quickly turned to panic as recognition dawned. "Mr. Chun, what are you doing here? I thought you were in meetings all week." Derek's voice cracked as he scrambled to stand, suddenly aware that his world was about to change dramatically. Marcus closed the office door behind him, his calm demeanor more intimidating than any shouting could be. "I've been here all week, Derek, working alongside the staff you manage, watching how you treat the people who make this restaurant successful." Derek's face went pale as the implications hit him. The busboy who had witnessed his cruelty, who had seen him fire Linda, was the owner of the entire company. "You fired a woman yesterday for having a medical emergency. A woman who worked 3 weeks with a broken hand because she was afraid to lose her job under your management." Marcus's voice remained controlled, but fury simmered beneath the surface. "That's not the culture I built this company on." Derek stammered excuses about performance standards and corporate pressure, but Marcus cut him off with a raised hand. "You're fired, effective immediately. Security will escort you out. I'm also implementing immediate changes to our healthcare policy and management training protocols." Within hours, Marcus had called an all-staff meeting, announcing new policies that prioritized employee welfare and dignity over profit margins. 3 months later, Linda returned to Romano's with her hand fully healed and a new title, Assistant Manager of Employee Relations. Marcus had personally designed her role to ensure no worker would ever suffer in silence again. She wore her name tag with quiet pride, knowing her experience would help protect others. Sophia sat in the break room doing homework after school, a daily routine that Marcus had made possible with flexible scheduling and on-site childcare. The 80-year-old had become the restaurant's unofficial mascot, charming customers with her bright smile and helping servers fold napkins during quiet moments. Marcus watched Linda train new managers on recognizing signs of employee distress, her voice confident as she shared hard-won wisdom. Every Romano's location now offered comprehensive health care, mental health support, and emergency assistance funds. The changes had transformed not just policies, but the entire company culture. During the evening shift, Linda approached Marcus with genuine warmth that had replaced her initial intimidation. "You know," she said with a smile, "I never thought getting my hand broken would lead to the best job of my life." Marcus chuckled, but his expression remained thoughtful. "You taught me that true leadership means seeing people, not just performance metrics." If Linda's dedication and Marcus's transformation touched your heart, please drop a comment and let us know your favorite part of their story, or if you've ever witnessed someone working through hardship to support their family. As closing time approached, Sophia looked up from her coloring book and grinned at Marcus. "Thank you for taking care of my mommy," she said simply, her words carrying the weight of gratitude that would last a lifetime.